Okay, so yes, in the last class we discussed about the Java, and then we created a hello world, a sample Java program over here as a hello world. We discussed about the structure of the Java program. We created a class, we initiated an object, and we printed a message on the console. So this is how what we have seen in the last session. Any doubts you have on it?
Yes.
Any doubts you have, please go ahead.
No doubt everything is okay in the first session.
Perfect, perfect. So now, yes, let's move on. Okay,
Yes.
now coming over here, before we go ahead and we will talk, I mean, we will do some implementation. So it will be good, it will be best that if we learn few things about the Java as a general one. Okay, general one in the sense, like, let's say, who has created this Java, okay, and all those things. Okay, so that will be, I mean, that is also good, right? So when we learn about that, okay, so now coming over here, just a 5 minutes of time, just let's see who created, I mean, who found this Java and all those things. Okay, and also, yes, we will talk about the architecture as well. Okay, why this Java comes into the picture and all those things. So
Oh,
let me have a text file over here. Okay. So Java, okay, so this was originally developed by James Gosselin, okay, James Gosselin. So which become one of the popular programming language for the enterprise applications. And coming over here to this Java programming language, if you see, it helps in developing the distributed applications. And coming over here, it is a platform independent. So what that comes with the platform independent is. So now, if I create a Java file, each and every Java file will generate a class file. Okay, each and every Java file that generates a class file. Okay, now coming over here, if I wanted to show you, let me say, like, um, is my screen visible? I mean, with the folder structure,
yeah, I can see your screen.
Eclipse is alone visible, right? Is that okay? Okay, let me share my entire screen just a second. Okay. Now coming over here, so here we are, and this is the project which we created, and in under the SRC, that is SRC stands for source. Okay, and if you go to the day one, we have our Java file. Okay. Now again coming over here, you'll be having a bin folder where you go, you'll be having same your package and you will have your class file. Okay. Now why I'm showing this class file in the sense, okay, now we got to know that Java is a platform independent, which means I have generated this program, I have created this program on my system, and each and every Java file, okay, will be compiled and a class file will be generated. And now I can run this class file either on my machine. I can share this class file to you. You can run this class file at your machine as well. It can be anything. So the class file can be shared among various machines. It can be executed at the various machines, which means like it is not that it will work only on the Windows, it will execute on the Linux, it will execute on the Mac as well. So that is the reason here we are mentioning the Java as a platform independent. Is that is clear?
Yeah, yeah.
And yes, inspired. So some inspiration should be there, right? So it was inspired by C++ language and it has many of its syntaxes. And coming over here, Java is a basic and robust programming language. Using Java, one can build any type of applications like enterprise application, web application, mobile application, even a cloud-based application we can create. Okay, all right. Now, coming over here, we have a lot of features as well with the Java. Okay. Now, coming over here, Java, it's a high level programming language, which is developed by a very small team, and it is headed by James Gosselin. Okay, at Sun Microsystems in 1991. Microsystems at 1991. Okay, it is currently owned by Oracle Corporation and it was designed to be a small, simple, and portable across the platforms and operating system. Okay, now coming over here, we can go ahead and we can see the latest version of Java. So coming over here with the latest version of Java, if you see, uh, let me open a browser and coming over here, if you say Java
I think
latest
it's
version,
23 currently.
23. Okay. Now coming over here, you can see Java 23. Perfect. Okay. So we have JDK 23. Okay. I hope you install Java on your machine, though you have executed the Hello World program. So it means like you have installed.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so yes, so Java 23, as per Jan 9, 2025. Okay, so let's make a note over here. Okay, coming over here, let's make a note that Java 23 is the latest version of Java as of, let's say, Jan 9, 2024, right? Yes. Okay, so we have a lot of features for the Java. So we can say Java as a object-oriented, it's a secure, it's a robust, it's a multi-threaded, it's a very simple language. So like this, we have several features of Java. Okay, I leave the features to you. Okay, you can, even if you go ahead and if you Google the features of Java, you will get plenty of features on it. So yes, now I'm not going to concentrate on the features. Just now let's see about the editions of Java. We have a lot of editions in Java. I mean, two editions we have. One is Java Standard Edition.
One is enterprise.
Exactly, yes. Java Enterprise Edition. What is the difference between these two editions?
A standard one is for a small, for individual or small projects, and enterprise is for the organizations.
Perfect. Okay. So for if you wanted a fundamentals, let's say like a core Java, so you can go ahead with the standard edition. But when you wanted a frameworks kind of an advanced kind of a kind Java, then you have to go ahead with the enterprise one because it is enterprise that consists of lot of libraries. Okay, for building the distributed applications. Okay, distributed Java applications. All right. So now these libraries depend on Java SE library. Okay. So Java, we have two editions. One is Java Standard Edition. Another one is Enterprise Edition. Standard Edition, it is required to learn Java programming fundamentals. Your SC, okay, your SE that consists of libraries for building the core programming, like core Java application. And the enterprise edition, so as standard edition, we call it as SE. The enterprise, we call it as EE. So enterprise edition, it is consists of libraries for building the distributed Java applications. Okay. All right. Yes. Now moving
Yes.
further. Okay. So these are the basic introduction for Java. Okay. So
Yeah.
introduction for Java. Now coming over to the Java architecture. So we want to know about the architecture as well. right? Java architecture, that is how it works, and what are the things that is required in order to run the Java. So that is also important before we go ahead with the Java. All right, so yes. So basically, Java SE, okay, we actually called it as JDK, okay. Java SE, we actually call it as JDK, that is Java.
Development kit.
Perfect, yes. And this Java development kit that comprises of two things. One is
JRE.
development tools, and of course, yes, as you said, JRE. Okay, the full form for the JRE is Java.
Java Runtime Environment.
Perfect. Environment. Okay, Java Runtime Environment. So now coming over here, this development tools that include the Java compiler. Okay, Java compiler, that is, we call it like Java compiler, we call it as Java C.exe. Okay, so your development tools that includes Java compiler and Java interpreter. Okay, Java interpreter, Java compiler, that is like Java C.exe, Java interpreter, that is Java.exe. Okay, so these tools are required to prepare a Java application for execution. So Java virtual machine, let's say Java virtual machine. So virtual machine executes a Java application using a certain specific libraries and files which are provided by the JRE. Okay, so now your development tools that includes your Java compiler and your Java interpreter. Okay, JRE that have JVM, your Java standard packages, and we can say runtime libraries as well. Your JVM, Java Virtual Machine, that executes the Java application by using the certain specific libraries and the files which are provided by the JRE. So JVM is the actual runtime in which a Java application executes. Okay, JVM is the actual runtime in Java in which the Java application executes. Now coming over here, the point to be noted over here is, let's say point to be noted, in JDK 11, okay, which means we can also say like from JDK 11 onwards, from JDK 11 onwards, there is no Java runtime environment. Okay, from JDK 11 onwards, there is no Java runtime environment because we are, I mean, in a one itself, we will be having in one, I mean, overall, we will combine that as a JDK. Okay,
Okay.
is that is clear?
Yes, yes, clear, perfect.
Okay, we have a lot of distributions in Java. How we have an additions in Java, similar way we have a Java distributions. If you go ahead and if you find distributions, even in Eclipse, if you see, we will be having that what do you call, like a Tamarin, I think, like one second, let me show you. Even when you went with the Eclipse download, okay, there was the name over here. Tamarin. Okay, this one. Now coming over here, if you search for if you search for Java distributions list, can you see over here? All right, OpenJDK, Oracle OpenJDK, Amazon, Alibaba, Azure System, Red Hat OpenJDK. See, you can see Eclipse, Tamarin, Oracle JDK, SAP, so Azure Zulu. So these are the various Java distribution that we have. Okay, we have. So now coming over here, either you can use OpenJDK or you can use Oracle JDK. Okay, so how you can check it out? I mean, I'm not saying like you should not go with other distribution. You can go with the other distribution. So these distributions are from the different vendors. They create the same build and they get them certified and they distribute them as well, right? So
Yeah,
Oracle.
it is as per if we let's suppose if we are working on Alibaba infrastructure, so we have to work as per their distribution. So
Exactly, yes.
If we
See,
are
coming
working
over
on
here,
Red
there
Hat,
is
then we have to
uh,
install the Red Hat, distribution on the particular machine or virtual machine,
let
whatever.
me explain this. I think when you're coming over here, right? So there is only one source code for JDK. Okay, there is
Hmm.
only one source code for JDK. Okay, so that
Okay.
is Open JDK. Okay, now it
Mm-hmm.
is like Open JDK. It is open source. It is available for everyone. But this is just a source code, not a distributable build. If you go with the Open JDK, it is just a source code. You can see here, right? It's a source implementation, which is an open source implementation. Okay, it is not a distributable build. Okay, it is not
Okay.
a distributable build. One second, just let me.
So let's suppose if we are working on Red Hat infrastructure particular, and in that case we need to install this OpenJDK, or we have to install Red Hat JDK, that one on that
Now
machine.
coming over here. Now this is the open source, right? So anyone
Hmm.
can pick up this source code, they can produce a build and they can post it to a URL. So however, there is a separate certification process that might be used to ensure that construction is valid. All of a sudden, let's say like if I take an open source and I'm building the process, simply I cannot say like my Java is ready. I have a distribution. I cannot simply say that. There will be a certification. That certification is performed by the JCP. What is that JCP? Okay, so certification will be there. JCP, that is what Java Community Process, which provides a technology compatibility kit. Okay,
Hmm.
Java Community Process that provides a TCK, we can say. Okay, your JCP that provides TCK, which we call it as Technology Compatibility Kit. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So if an organization produces an open JDK build that compiles with entire TCK, so this build may be described as compatible with Java SE. Now, if I take this open source, let's say I take this open source, I'm just doing a build. It perfectly worked. It coming up with a valid certification. Yes, I can say the version of mine. I can say the version of mine is a compatible with Java SE. I can go ahead with my version, right? I can go ahead. You can see this Azul Zulu. Can you see builds of OpenJDK? It is like open source, TCK tested and certified Open JDK distribution. Can you see?
So it
Yes.
is already TCK tested and certified by OpenJDK. So directly we can use this.
Okay. You can take this this Open JDK. It's a free and open source. You can take this. You can implement whatever you want. You can come up with a new Java distribution. And it is not that it will be, all of a sudden, once you create, it is not that it will be accepted as a Java distribution. It has to undergo the test. It has to get certified. So you can see here TCK tested and it is a certified Open JDK distribution. TCK tested and certified. That is what we talked about here with the JCP and the TCK.
Okay.
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 All right. Clear?
Yeah.
Any doubts you have over here?
No. Perfect. Thanks.
Perfect. Yes. Now coming over here, you can see we have Oracle OpenJDK, Oracle OpenJDK, Oracle JDK. These are by Oracle, and we have Amazon. You can see over here Amazon, Corretto, and Alibaba. So these are various vendors for this JDK. Okay,
Yeah.
OpenJDK is by Oracle. OpenJDK by Oracle is completely a open source, but okay, but
Okay.
this OpenJDK by Oracle is completely open source, but this Oracle JDK, the public updates. Okay, so public updates, let's say like few things are for a that won't come without a commercial license. Okay, so few things with the Oracle JDK, you have for business, you have for commercial or production. Okay, so you can use without a commercial license. Okay, so is that is clear so far?
So it means now this Java is not fully free actually. Some feature are restricted and to
Exactly.
be, huh?
Yes, yes. So we have several things, right? Okay. So now coming over here, the public updates, which is released after Jan 2019. So 2019 will not be available for business, commercial, or production use without a commercial license. The public updates, which is released over here.
Now it's owned by
And
Oracle only, no? Before it
yeah,
was Sun Microsystem product.
yes. Now it is like Oracle. Okay, so you can go ahead and you can download as well. Now it is see it is like I mean you can see learn about the Java subscription, right? If you go ahead,
Yeah,
you will have the subscription details.
yeah.
Okay. You can see what are the things that it has, what are the things it will provide, and all those things. Okay.
Okay, okay, sure.
If you want, I'll give this link on the chat box. You can refer it whenever you get time as well.
Yeah, I will explore. Yeah,
Okay. All right. So now coming to the next. Okay, you already have downloaded. Yes, we have created our first program as well. Okay, so we can move on to this. I mean, we can move on to the next one. Okay, all right. So whenever you install Java, whenever you install JDK, okay, if you go ahead and observe your environment variables, if you just click on the start and type environmental variables, you will get edit environmental variables. So you can go with the system properties and here you have environmental variables. Click on this. So whenever you create a JDK, Java home, you can see this particular one. And if you scroll down with the path and if you go ahead with the edit, you can see if you're having an Oracle, then you can see Oracle Java. If you're having a Zulu, Tamarind, so those kind of a thing, then you can have that versions also over here. Okay, so which
One
means
second. Can you just go back and show me which path for Java in this path?
okay, environmental variables. You'll be having a Java home. Okay,
In my PC, I don't have this Java
okay,
home.
all right. If not, we can create it
But I
out. Not
need
a
to set
problem.
this environment variable.
You can create it also. So just what you do, just click on the new over here under your system variable. You
Yeah,
have a new
yeah, Java underscore home.
yes, Java underscore home, and you have to give your JDK JDK location over here. So I'm using JDK 17 over here because like I'm using 17 because few DevOps tools that will work with the Java 17. So that's the reason I'm sticking to Java 17. Okay. If not, I will update it to the latest version.
Okay, no issue. I will do it later. No issue.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Okay, you can just refer it. So just if you go ahead, you have to say the variable name as Java home and you have to provide the location till JDK. Okay. And then coming
Yeah.
over here, if you go to this path, if you go over here, okay, so till bin you have to store it. Okay, till bin you have to write it. So which means let me show you. So you can go ahead with a new. Here you can go ahead with a browse and you can locate your you can locate your JDK. So coming over here, program files, and let's say Java JDK bin. So you have to locate the bin folder and you have to place it over here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So yes. Now, okay. And okay. That's it. So this is how you will be configuring the Java to your system. Okay. Now with this, we have developed the first Java program in our previous class. Okay, we have developed the first program. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so you can execute the same Java file in the command prompt also. Okay, in the command prompt also you can execute it. For example, let me say, let me open it with let me open a terminal over here. Yes. You can see the terminal here, right? Which is the command prompt. Okay. Which is the command
Yeah.
prompt. So now, first thing, you're going to do it with the command prompt. So if you see in Eclipse, if you see, directly you can go ahead and run. So when you run it, it will do two things. One is it will compile and it will interrupt, which means like compiler will compile and generate the class file, and the interpreter will interrupt the class file line by line and it will produce the output. So two things,
Yeah.
when you click on the run button, two things will be performing. Now, when you go with the
Perform.
terminal, you
We
have
need
to
to
do
do,
it.
yeah, one
You
by
have to
one.
do it. Yes. So coming over here, if you see, we said compiler was with Java C exe and interpreter is Java, right? So we're going to make use of
Yeah.
that only. Okay. So the
Yeah.
first
Java
thing,
C hello world. Java C hello world.
exactly. Okay. Java C, and then you have to say
Hello
hello world. Do I
world.
want to say that Java?
I don't think.
You don't? Okay. Can you
Huh.
see?
It's required, I think,
Mm. So you
because
have to
it's a
say
Java file.
Java.
Yeah.
Exactly. So whenever you're providing a Java file, you have to provide the extension .java.
Do
Now,
we need to write Java or jar?
Java. Jar is the outcome of your complete application.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is a simple program. Okay.
Jar is the
.java.
final output. Eh?
Final output. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Now
Okay.
here you have Java. Now this with this, the compilation will be done, which means the class file will be generated. Okay. So class file will be generated over here. Then you can go ahead and say Java
Java
hello
hello world
world. But this time you have to say class.
class.
This time you have to say class. Okay.
Hmm.
Now coming over here. One second. Sorry. You can remove the class. You can
Yeah.
see.
Don't require class. Eh?
It is not required. Just a second. Let me check my name. I think it's Hello World, right? Hello World. Okay.
I think class name, some object or some.
It is placed in my bin folder. I showed
Yeah.
you, right? Okay. It is in the bin folder day one. I'm sorry. One second. Let me take off this. Or simply, I'll go over here so you can see. Okay.
Directly
So
you can put CMD. Yeah.
yes,
CMD.
exactly. That is what I'm going to do over here. Now coming over here, yes. So simply we can say Java, hello world.
I think first you need to Java C here. Java C, then
Okay. I think I'm getting some error. Could not find or load the main class. Okay.
I think first you
Um,
need to compile.
that is what. One second. What I do is, though it is in the Eclipse workspace, it is having a problem. Now what I do, I'll just copy this particular file. One second. Mm, okay, you can see here, right? The class file is over here. Let me remove this. You can see the
Class
timing
already
over here.
there.
Yeah,
So
let me remove this. Let me say CMD, which will be open over here itself. So now let's say like Java C, hello world.java. Class file is generated. Okay, class
it's
file is
generating two class files. One
that
second. It's
is
because you
because
have created one object also there. So because of that.
exactly, exactly. You can see over here we have two classes, class C and class hello world.
Yeah.
Okay, that is the thing. Okay, now coming over here, you can say class hello world. I'm sorry.
Dot classes.
All right, it says like wrong name, but it was right.
Program is
1 second.
remove.
Let
Yeah.
me just knock off this. It should work. The problem with mine is I have two Javas on my system. That is the thing. Let me check it out. Okay, just a second. Let me delete it. And coming over here, executing again. And class file will be generated. And this time, to execute the Java program, we can say Java and our name of our application, and then press enter. All right, load our main class. It's already there. 1 second. CMD. CMD. Now let's say Java. Hello world. Okay.
Can you put dot class? But I think it's not
It
required.
will work. I mean, it should not say dot
Yeah.
class should not be there. As soon as you say Java hello world, output should come. You can check it at your end. Okay. So mine is like sometimes what will happen once the file is up, I
Okay,
mean
no
added over
issue.
here.
I know I will do it. No issue.
Yeah, I have to refresh, then only it will come into the consideration. So you can check, you will get an output. Definitely you will get an output. Okay, you won't get an error like mine. Definitely you will get an output. If not, let me know so that I can try to resolve it at your end. Okay, what can be done so that you can resolve it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Now coming over here with ours. So we like overly, if you see we'll be using an Eclipse or any kind of a IDE, directly you can go ahead and you can say run button. So that will go ahead and execute it. Okay, so yes. So you can see it is pointing to my JDK 17.1. Okay. Now, yes. So the last class that we have discussed about the camel case, right? The camel camel case notations, right? And always the class name should start with the uppercase letter. Your class name and the file name that should be in the same. So these things we have seen, right? So today, let's move on. Okay. Now, as I said you in the previous class, okay, each and every, real world entities, right? So Java, it's an object-oriented language. Okay, Java is an object-oriented language which has the principles. So when you say um, object-oriented language, it has some principles with it. So the principles are abstraction, and then we have encapsulation, then we have inheritance.
I think in last class you was telling for variables and some other.
That is also there. Yeah. See, these are the functionalities or the
Yeah.
principles. Okay,
Yeah.
the mechanism we can say. Okay, polymorphism. Okay, we have. All right. Okay, so coming over here, polymorphism we have. Okay, these are the principles. I mean, these are the object-oriented principles that Java apply. Because object-oriented approach, if you see, all real-world entities in a problem domain or objects. So if you see, if you take a banking domain, customers as well as employees or objects. Objects, they have state and behavior. As every customer object has attributes, we can say name, the customer ID, we can say. Values of these attributes will define the state of the object. Okay, so the name, the ID, that will be the attribute. Okay, now coming over to the object, if you see the behavior. Okay, the behavior of that particular object. How do I behave? How do I behave? Right. So the responsibility of the object, okay, is modeled as the behavior of the object. So now my responsibility is to take a session. Okay.
Hmm.
So I used to handle various sessions. So handling sessions, that will be the behavior of mine. Okay. So
Okay.
your object-oriented system is made up of collaborating the object where each object invoke the behavior of other object. Now coming over here, as I said you, the class is the blueprint. Class is the blueprint, okay, where we have to provide the state and behavior, and then we have to create an object for the particular class. Okay, all
Hmm.
right. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay, so when you create a class, instance of the class should be created. When you say instance of the class, the other name is object. So whenever you create an object will have its own copy of attributes and methods. So let's say we are humans, right? We can
Hmm.
say class humans. Okay, humans. Now if we are creating an object human, okay, let's say like human one, new humans. Okay, now this human can have a name. Okay, so let's say the name, let me say the name as Pavan now. Okay, so what will happen? Name will be the behavior. Here name will be the behavior. Now what you will be doing, what action that you will do, action that comes the method. Okay, action that comes the method. So we can say like public static void. That's it. Okay, so this is what we call like attributes. Okay, attributes that we call it like a state, and this method we call it as a behavior.
Property, behavior.
Okay, behavior. Okay, is that is clear?
Yeah.
All right, so we can have any number of objects, any number of objects in the world. If you see, we have a lot of plenty of humans. Each human is a object. Okay, each
Yeah.
human is a object. So now what I do, let's go ahead and create one class. Okay, so in our day two, let's say we create a class for student.
Yeah.
Okay, let's create a class for the student.
I think public void, you need to enable that.
That we will come with later. Okay, right.
Okay.
I'll show you. Now coming over here, I'm going to have a class. Okay, in this class, I'm going to sorry, just a second. Yeah, right. I hope you can see the eclipse, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Now we are going to have the attributes, that is the variables. Okay, let's say student, we will say name. We can say the grade, right? The class we can say, and we can say roll number, right? So name, grade, roll number. So these things we call it as a variable name.
Variables.
Okay, I can say Nida, I can say Pavan. Where if
Yeah.
I say Nida, I want to store it somewhere.
Yeah.
Nida is a value, Pavan is a value. Okay,
Yeah.
so we have to store that value in some container. How you
Yeah.
place the chocolates in a container, the similar way, the value what we have to put it in a container, and that container is what we call it like a variables.
Okay. So
Okay,
variable is the container where
exactly,
the value is stored, and it occupies some space in that
exactly. Okay, now coming
space
over
of
here.
memory.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So if I say Nida, that is a value that is going to store in the memory. It is going
Mm.
to store in the memory, which means it occupies some
Yeah.
space.
Yeah.
Okay, now in the last class we discussed about the string, and then we discussed about the integer, right?
Yeah. If it's numeric, then it's integer. If it's string, I mean, if it's
Sequence
alphabetic,
of
like,
characters, right?
yeah,
Sequence of
characters, then it's
characters,
yeah, string.
string.
And double
So
int, float, all these are variables.
exactly. Now coming over here, name. So name is equal to Nida, Pavan. So which is a sequence of characters. So when you are declaring a variable in Java, you have to specify the data type. Here the data type is nothing but you're going to say what kind of data that you're going to store.
Hmm.
You're going to store a number, you're going to store a sequence of character. That is what the data type. Okay, you are going to let the Java know. You have to explicitly say that, hey, boss, I'm going to provide a value, and that value is going to be it will be a sequence of character like that. Okay. So
Okay.
now coming over here, we have to say string.
String.
Grade, let's say like grade, either you can say like a character
In,
or you can say like a string. Let's use string only.
okay.
Role, integer. Okay, and coming over here, these things we also call it like a identifier. Okay, identifier, the variable names. Okay, we can also call it like a identifiers. And here it is a case sensitive, which means name is different from name. This one. Okay. It's completely different. Okay. It's completely different. So your identifiers are case sensitive. It should not
And
start
they are
with a
in small
number.
letters.
You can
It
say small
and
letter. Okay. It should start with a small letter. Okay. It should start with a letter, or it can start with a dollar symbol, or it can start with an underscore, but it should not start with a number. It should not
okay.
start with a number. Okay. You can see it contains error. Okay.
Yeah.
You can,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You can start with a dollar. You can start with the underscore, but you cannot start with the number. And of course, your variable name should not contain a space. Okay, should
Okay.
not contain a space. And of course, we do have a keywords. Keywords are a built-in variables which are reserved. Okay, so we have in Java, if you see, we have a reserved words, reserved keywords which give a special meaning in Java. For example, we say class, public, package, int, string. So these are the reserved keywords, which means like you should not make use of it as a variable name or a method name. So Java has an inbuilt words, inbuilt keywords. Okay, so current like if you see nearly 50 keywords Java has. Okay, like a private, public, protected, string, int, float, double, boolean, class, method, static, right? So these like this, you have nearly 50 keywords. You should not use this 50 keywords as a name of your class or your method or your variables, your objects like that. For example, if I say string class, it will throw an error. Okay, it will throw an error. If I say public, throw an error. If I say static, it will throw an error. So you can see the difference. I like one thing in Eclipse. See, whenever you are creating some keywords, right, it will come with a different color over here. Okay, so with that, you can easily identify. Okay, you can easily identify that these things you cannot use. We also have a integer. Okay, you can make use of an integer also. Integer is a class. Int is an object that comes with this integer class. Okay. All right. So we will discuss that in after a few sessions. Okay. We don't want to stick to that now. Okay. And
What you are
coming
saying?
to the variable name, there is no.
I have one
You have,
question. You
yes,
are
please
telling
go ahead.
teacher is a class or what? What you
This
told
one,
previously?
this integer. Can you see it is in a capital letter? And this is a
Mm-hmm.
class which comes under the Java.language package. You can see the integer class. Can you see? Integer class. Integer
So
class
it's
is a
not data
parent.
type.
Mm.
It's not that.
It's a data type as well. Okay, it's a data type. Okay, or each and everything, if you see, it's a class only. Okay, even if you see string is a class that we are making use of as a data type. Okay, all right. So coming over here, integer. Okay, this integer you can see it wraps the value of your int type. Okay, when we talk about the wrapper class, right? So that time I will talk more about this integer and string. So as of now, I don't want to confuse you. Just go ahead with the int. You can say
Okay.
float. You can say double. You can say boolean. Okay,
Correct.
so you can see the colors, right? Yes.
If we are storing single value, then we use char. Char.
Ah, perfect. Character. Perfect.
A or
Okay.
B or anything like.
Exactly. So now you can say like let's say like pass category. Let's say like this pass category. We can say P for pass,
Or
F of A.
either grade also, I think it will come in here.
Grade we can say like if you
ABC.
give it as a Roman letters, then it will be like 8th grade, 7th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade. So that will be like, so that's the
That is
reason I give it as
standard.
a,
I think it will come
oh,
standard.
you can
Okay.
give it as a char also, not a problem.
Okay.
If
Okay.
you, yes. Okay, so you can go ahead. See, it is our own program, so we can customize according to our needs, according to our requirements, not a problem. Okay, so yes, so we have a class. So these things we call it as a attributes. The another name we can call it as a instance variable.
Okay.
Instance
What is
variables.
the difference between variable and data type?
Data type is a kind of a value. Kind of a value. What kind of a value that you're going to put? Now let's say like you have Kit Kat, okay? You have dairy milk, you have Milky Bar, okay? So
Hmm.
three chocolates in one jar, okay? Now you want to segregate them, which means like Kit Kat, Nestle products in one, Cadbury products in one, right? So you
Hmm.
have a dairy milk. Dairy milk is a like a Cadbury. The Cadbury is the brand, right? So dairy milk that comes under that. So here the value what you're going to store that comes under the string. Okay, the type of the value what you're going to store. It is if it is a sequence of character or number, what kind of a value that you're going to provide. That is what the data type is. Variable is just a name for those values. You got it?
Variable is for?
Variable is just providing a name for your variable. Sorry, value. Okay.
Okay.
So now Nida
Then what data
is
type is doing? It's also providing value?
a data type that is the type of the value. Okay. I'll put
Okay.
it over here. Okay. So you have variable and you have data type. Okay. Variable is to hold the value. Variable is just to hold the value. Data type will tell what kind of a value you have.
Categorize the value. Huh?
Mm. Okay, value can be anything, 5, 50, and then we can say class, we can say object, we can say birds, we can say anything. Okay, anything. So that is a value. And what type of a value means whether it is a string or whether it is a
Okay,
character,
understand.
boolean,
They are interrelated to each
uh,
other, I think.
is interrelated. Okay, so in Java, you have to explicitly say the type of the value that you're going to store. Okay, you have to explicitly tell the type. Okay, is this clear?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right. So now let's see, we have over here. Now what I'm going to do is let's create a constructor for this. So for creating the constructor, we need a public static void main, right? So what I do, I'll just take it from here. Okay, so though we are here, we can put it over here itself. Now coming over here, you can create student S1 equal to new
So constructor
student.
is a method or class? It's a class, I think, yeah, or method.
Which one?
Constructor.
Constructor is a method. Constructor is a method. I'll come to that. Okay. Now, how to create an object with the help of the new keyword? You have to say your class name and then the brackets. Okay. Now, let's say like student S2 equal to new student. Now, if I say, if I want to, so for we have two objects, which means like two instance we have for this particular class. Okay, two instance we have. So if we want to access the variables, if we want to access the attributes which is inside the class with the help of the instance, okay, with the help of the instance, then what we have to do, we have to make use of the dot variable. Okay, we have to make use of the dot variable. Is that is clear?
How you will make dot variable?
Uh,
That
Now coming over here, let's say s1 dot. Can you see the variables over here? Okay, so now coming over here, you can say, let's say like name, s1 dot name equal to, let me see, s1 dot, let's say like a roll number equal to 1, 2, 3. So the similar way I can give for s2 also, s2. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, if I wanted to know, or let's say like I wanted to print, I can print s1 dot name. Now, in that case, my output will be Pavan. My output will be Pavan. One second. Let me run this. Okay, this is getting print, right? Now, if you see, you can see Pavan. Okay, so now whenever you are creating an object and when you are trying to run it, what happens is by default, even though the constructor is not mentioned in your class, okay, it will go ahead and invoke the constructor. By default, there is a constructor in your class. Implicitly, it is there. So that's the reason when you create an object, that will go ahead and invoke the constructor. So we have various kinds of constructor, various types of constructor we have. Okay, various types of constructor we have. One is like parameter constructor, another one is parameterless constructor. We have default constructor. Okay, we have default constructor and parameterized constructor. Constructors are a special method without return type. Okay, they don't have return type. So earlier, if you see, we have a method over here, and that method will have a return type, right? So let's say like public. Okay, let me say public static int. Okay, let's say like return roll number. Oh, I'm sorry, roll number. Now here you can say this return roll number, though it is a return type is int, you want to return the roll number. Now coming over here, let's see like, okay, now return roll number you have. Okay, so you can say like, hey, I'm sorry, just a second. As of now, we don't want static now. Let's go ahead with this. Now, simply what I can do, if I want to display the roll number, what I can say is simply I can say s1 dot, okay, simply I can say, instead of going ahead and saying s1 dot roll number, simply what I can say, I can just call the method return roll number. Okay, return roll number. You can see 1, 2, 3 is returned, right? And if you say in the place of S2, S1, if you say S2, you will get the roll number of student 2, that is 4, 5, 6. Okay, so you having a method. So you have a method. So now constructor is a special method. They don't have a return type. So you can say int is a return type. Okay, int void is a return type. Okay, int void is a return type over here. But when you go with the constructor, okay, when you go ahead with the constructor, that constructor will not have a return type. Okay, constructor will not have a return type. Is
So
that
here
clear?
in this in public int, we are not going with constructor. We are just I mean defining the method, and here we are going with the constructor in the second one, static void. Correct?
Come again, sorry.
You have defined that is out of constructor, so we are calling that roll number method in the first one.
This one is not a constructor.
Yeah.
This
That's why
is
I'm
a,
telling this is
uh,
not a constructor. It's a we are calling to method. This one.
exactly, it's a normal method. Okay,
Yeah, normal method.
constructor is a special method. That is what we
So,
call it like a
so in that
constructor.
constructor, we don't need to call to method, just we print. That's it. We create the object and we print those
Yeah.
things.
Now coming over here, whenever you create an object, right? So even though if you're not specifying the constructor, automatically by default, it will have a constructor. If the programmer, if they does not provide the default constructor, the compiler will provide one. Okay. Now coming over here, if you want to explicitly mention, so instead you feel like, Ananda, I don't want to give like this S1 name, S1 roll number. What is this? I don't want this. I want to pass the variable. I want to send the value to my variable during the constructor itself, during the constructor creation itself. If you feel like that, yes, you can do that. You can do that. So you can just go ahead and you can simply pass your value. So passing a value to the constructor, that is what we call it like a parameterized constructor. That we call it like a parameterized constructor. So now you
Yeah,
can see,
can you do in that way parameterized
yeah, I'm
constructor in
doing
that?
that for you now. I'm doing that for you. So now here we have two objects. One is parameterized, another one is with the default constructor. Default constructor, even though if you're not creating, compiler will create for you. So you can see no error for this. But coming to the parameterized constructor, you have to mention it. You have to mention it. So you can see that is what the error over here. So you can see the constructor is undefined. So you can go ahead and create the constructor. You can see public. You can remove the public also, not a problem. So constructor that comes with the name of your class and then the value what you're passing with the data type it will come. So here you can say name and here you can say grade. Okay. All right. So now coming over here, when you say this, let me say, and coming to the default constructor, okay, default constructor, either you can provide also, okay, if not compiler will give. But when you're going ahead with the parameterized constructor, okay, when you're going ahead with the parameterized constructor, and if your requirement is like if you want to have a default constructor also, then you have to create it. Why? Because parameterized constructor is there. So you can see this is not matching with this particular one, what you have provided. So explicitly, if you want it, you have to say. So you can have any number of constructors. You can have any number of constructors. Can you see? The error gone. It is not that only one constructor should be created for the class. Not like that. You can have any number of constructor. Okay, so now let's say like any number of constructor. Let's say like I am an default constructor. Okay. Now, if you are not specifying these things, if you're not specifying any values or nothing, okay, just you're just creating an object. So when you create an object, okay, when you create an object that if you run also, what you can see over here, I am in a parameterized constructor. I am in a default constructor. So when you create an object, that object instance, that creation will first go to your constructor. What is there in the constructor that will be executed before it go ahead and execute your other lines. Okay, so when you say this constructor, the lines which is inside the constructor will get executed and then only it will move on to the next. Okay, so now here you're passing name and grade. Okay, values you're passing, and also you have the instance variables with a name and grade. So you're passing
One
it, right?
second. Actually, here, 1 second. Why name and grade is not coming? Because but we have passed here in name and grade.
You're
It
just
should be print.
passing to the constructor, but you didn't give any statement to print it over here.
Can you give the statement
Yes,
also?
of course, I do that. Now let's say like name, comma, grade. Oh, 1 second, sorry. Name and grade, let's see, plus, and let me see, plus. Okay, name and grade. Now, if you go ahead and do this, can you see I'm in a parameterized constructor, name is Pawan, and grade is 123.
Yeah,
Got it?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So coming over to this, we have a constructor, two types of constructor, default
So
constructor and
in the same way,
parameterized constructor.
one second, we have done for this first one. Here, why we did this student and break and this one in the second one, or it's in this, we need to define in this way, or we can do the how?
Which one? Sorry, come again. Two
This is line
constructors,
number
right?
16, 16, 16.
This
Yeah.
one, this one. This is your default constructor,
No,
which we
don't.
can.
Uh,
Your class
like,
can have both the constructors also.
okay, okay. So
Okay.
let's suppose we have printed for Pawan. Can you print for Nida also? How you will print?
Yes, you can. So coming over here, if I wanted, I can simply go ahead and say, um, I can go ahead and I can say S3, and here I can see Nada, and here I can say 456.
But why not in S2 only? You do it in
That I
S2.
will do it. That I will do it. Okay, now you can see like this, right? Now coming over here, if you feel that you want it in the S2 itself, yes, you can do that.
Okay, okay, no, no issue. S2 is default one, eh? Correct?
Correct.
Okay,
Okay, here
okay.
we are not
Let's
going
make it
ahead with the
separate only.
constructor. Okay, we are
Yeah,
not
let's
having
make
any
it separate.
values. Hmm? So you can
Yeah,
see
let's
S2
make
passing it.
separate only.
Hmm? Okay, now if you go ahead and if you say S2 roll number return, so what it will obviously it will return 456. Can you see it is returning 456? Okay, is
Yeah,
it is clear?
understand.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
all right. So constructor has the same name as your class name. It does not have a
One
return.
second, you defined S3. Can you put it again? That is statement, the S3
Yeah,
one.
sure, I'll do that as well. So coming over here. This time what I do, I'll just give Nida over here. Okay. Now,
But I think it's not accepting, eh? Giving some error.
you can create one more constructor. You can create any number of constructor which is matching with your requirement. You can have, see, constructor with two parameter, constructor without
Okay.
parameter, constructor with one parameter.
Yeah, understand.
Hmm?
So
Okay,
now it
so
will not, now it will not give error.
now it
Once,
won't give error. You can go ahead and you can see this.
can you print this?
Yes, of course. Let's print over here. You can see. Now, if I
Why
wanted
it's
to
not?
say, no, here because we didn't give anything, right? So that's a reason. Now let me print it, okay? Uh, in a constructor, I'll just say in a constructor so you can see the difference. Run it. Can you see in a constructor? So this kind of a thing where you have multiple constructors with different parameters, we call that as constructor overloading.
Okay.
Okay, constructor overloading means same name with multiple parameters.
Hmm.
Okay, same name with multiple parameters. That's it. Okay, all right. So method overloading, which means, sorry, constructor overloading means having the two or more constructor in a class with the same name and different number of parameters. So you can see no parameter, one parameter, two parameter, but same name constructor. Okay, so with this note, let's put a hold over here. Okay, so today we have discussed how to create a class completely. We talked about the data type. We talked about the variable, that is the keywords. Okay, another name for variable we can say like an identifier. Okay, and we talked about the data type, and we created an object. We learned about the object, and then we learned about the constructor. We learned about the constructor overloading, and we talked about the Java introduction as well. Who created Java? What is the edition? What is the architecture? What is the distribution? So all those things that we have seen in the today's session. Do you have any doubts? Any doubts you have?
So for let's suppose we have to print something. So first we are declaring or creating the object. Then after that we are constructing the method that how we want to display or we want to show to the real world. Then we are
Hmm.
doing constructing that.
Exactly.
correct?
From next, yeah, exactly. From next class, okay, I will give you some scenario where you can start creating your program. Okay. All right. So from next class onwards, you will start writing your Java program by yourself.
Yeah,
The
yeah, you
outline
can
of
give
the
a
Java.
small assignment in the,
Exactly.
I think some C LMS is there. They have some LMS you can create. Either you can let me know that.
Now you can see, okay, now in that case, okay, so I'll give this file to you. I'll share this file with you. Okay,
Yeah,
keep this as a reference.
yeah,
And with this, what I want you to do is, I have created a student class, right?
yeah,
I want
yeah,
you to create, okay, I want you to create a class for an employee.
yeah,
Okay, I want you to
yeah.
create a class for the employee. Okay,
Hmm.
so try to create it. You can come up with yours, you can implement a constructor as well. So take this, I'll give the discussion text file also. Okay, and then I'll give you the student file also. Keep this as a reference, and with this reference I want you to come up with the employee class. Okay,
Yes, sir. I will do same thing for employee. Correct.
exactly. Try to come up. So, and in the next session, what you are bringing, the class file. Okay, I'm going to continue with that only.
Uh,
Okay, which means,
you mean the
let me
same
tell you.
program I will
Let
execute for the employee, correct?
Yes, exactly. So in, yeah, I have created a student class, right?
Yeah.
Similarly, you want to create it for the employee class. For employee, what are the variables that you can give? You have to do it. Okay,
Yeah, I
and
will do. Yeah.
you have to create a object, like let's say like three objects you have to create for an employee. Okay, three objects. So next session, if you give it to me, we will continue with that class only, the employee class. Then I will give you the student class is already with you, right? So whatever I do in the next session, I will give you some sort of assignments that you can do it in the student class. You got it?
Okay. Okay.
Great. I hope the file is on the chat box. You can take it out. So that's it
Yeah.
for today's session.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it for today's session. So any doubts, feel free to connect with me. All right. I hope the session is going good for you. Any doubts you have?
No doubt. It's good.
Perfect.